If you train longsword long enough, or sword fighting in that instance, then you will eventually hit these 5 mental walls. And most people quit at one of them, but you don't have to, because in this video I will actually describe it for you, these 5 mental walls, and how to get through them. So, if you don't know me, hi, I'm Michael Kozin, and I have over 2 years of experience in HEMA, specifically with longsword. And why do I even care about teaching this? Because I know the huge value that it brings to my life and to the life of my students inside my free school community down below in the description. How do I know these 5 mental walls? Because I lived through them myself. I know how hard they are at the beginning. So it's very important for me to actually teach you, because it's just an advice I want to share with you. And of course, you can check out my free Start Sword Fighting community, where I teach more about these kind of things and how to actually start training longsword specifically without any expensive gear or without any extreme fitness. So that's the link in the description. I already helped more than 20 guys inside this community. Let's go back to the topic of this video. The first mental wall that everyone has to go through when they start training sword fighting practice, or HEMA, is the fear of hitting your opponent. Or in other words, not committing to your attacks. So it's quite honestly normal for us to feel this way, because we're not trained to actually fight for our survival in day-to-day world. It's completely normal that you hold back your strikes before hitting your opponent. But you have to stop seeing holding back as equal to respect to your opponent. It's not respect when you hold back your strikes when, for example, you're duo drilling some kind of drill with your sparring partner, with your buddy, right? We train sword fighting because we want to train our muscle memory to do the right things, not to just hold back. In other words, you're confusing safety with hesitation. You're not more safe by pulling your attacks. You're just way more hesitant. And this is what actually makes the sword fighting, drilling and sparring more unsafe. In other words, committed attacks are way more safer than hesitant attacks. Sword fighting rewards our clear intention, not our politeness. You're not being more polite to your opponent when you hold your attacks. You're just not doing it right. You're not going about it the correct way. The second mental wall that everyone has to eventually go through is the fear of getting hit. And that's quite normal for us also, because most of us flinch when someone tries to strike at us. Yes, that's something that even me had to go through. But we need to change this flinching motion to something more controlled. We want to react to our opponent's attack in a way that turns his strike down with our own defense. So by our footwork and our blade work, by parrying his attack. And also we want to turn our defense into our own attack to strike our opponent back. So actually flinching and closing your eyes before impact is what actually leads to you getting hit. There is no magic way to go about it. You have to just expose yourself to this situation more and more by practicing fighting and sparring with your sparring partners. Because if you do not, this way you let your opponent dictate the whole exchange, the whole fight on his terms. And you're just becoming way more passive instead of being present. You have to stay focused and you have to stay present to actually see the strike that is coming right at you. And of course, react accordingly. But if you can't react accordingly, at least just always try to see the attack. Don't close your eyes, don't flinch, and don't stay passive on your footwork, on your legs. You have to just at least try to defend yourself by distance and by your blade work as well. And seeing the attack, not closing your eyes. The attack doesn't just disappear when you close them. The key ideas to get away from this point is that you can't learn sword fighting without accepting discomfort first. And the second thing is that fear makes your movement way more slower, stiffer, and way more obvious to your opponent. And this way you actually start lose more. So to fight it off, you have to turn this like male aggression on a bit, like not against your opponent, but against yourself. You have to move more. You have to move with intention, like you're actually trying to move explosively. It's slippery here, damn it, it's windy as hell. The third wall that everyone has to go through is overthinking your techniques. So mid fighting, you already maybe went through this kind of thing, that trying to remember each cut, each defense, each guard actually makes you more retarded in a bad way. I mean, you're trying too hard on focusing on these advanced techniques that actually don't benefit you at the beginning, and that's why you're actually freeze mid fight. In other words, you're fighting inside of your head instead with your body. This isn't the right way to go about it. In other words, sword fighting isn't about doing perfectly techniques that you've learned earlier. It's not about that. It's all about making fewer but faster decisions that actually benefit you right now mid exchange. You don't overthink them, you just do them right away. The first thought, for example, when you see that your opponent is going at you with a strike, you don't think about, oh wow, I need to do this kind of motion or this kind of guard to look cool and to parry him and to maybe riposte. No, you already do this without thinking. Even just the first stage, which is parrying him, is way more important than the next thing that you're thinking about. It will come naturally, eventually, of course, that muscle memory. I mean, that after defense you can riposte back to your opponent, of course. But at the beginning, you have to simplify everything for yourself and just focus on the patterns that I've mentioned, of course, in my previous videos that actually serve you, which is, of course, footwork, measure, and timing. This is all you need in every technique ever. So yeah, in short, it's not about the technique. It's about you being present and about you seeing what's happening in the chaos of sword fighting. So the fourth wall that everyone has to go through is getting hit without knowing why. There's an example. You blocked an attack of your opponent, or you parried it, but his strike still went through your guard and you don't know why. Or maybe your opponent went with some kind of feint attack to your knee and backed off from you, but you don't know actually why you got hit. But there is key points to actually remember about this kind of thing. That first things that you have to look at is your footwork, and second thing is your measure to your opponent, so distance management. This is the key factors that actually lead to you getting hit or not getting hit. It's not your blade work, but it's not always about your blade work, at least. Also, it could be that you're attacking without moving forwards, or you're defending without retreating from your opponent. But don't get sad right away. Your confusion means that you're doing the right things. What I mean is that you're actually going through the discomfort that you have to go through to actually learn something, to grow with this sword fighting skill. If you will always do the techniques and things that always win your exchanges, then you're probably not doing something that you should focus on, which could be other techniques or other specifics about sword fighting. If you're always winning with the same kind of technique, for example, a straight attack to the head, but you're always losing to something else, then you're not supposed to focus on the strike to the head thing, but things that you actually lose to. And you have to focus on them, of course, specifically to actually learn how to counter them. So confusion means that you are doing something that you haven't done before, and it's completely normal to fail at it. This shows that you're actually training the right thing, not just the things that you already know how to do perfectly. The fifth and the last wall is expecting it to stop soon. There may be a point that you could think to yourself that you should be already past the point of these mental walls. But here's the thing, these walls will reappear time and time again in different phases of sword fighting skill. You will, of course, compare yourself to the others, to the better fencers than you are. But you will also feel that you're maybe not a beginner anymore. This is a lesson of humility in sword fighting, which I love specifically, because humility teaches you that it doesn't matter in what phase you are in sword fighting. Humility teaches you that you have to grow and you have to go through the discomfort in each of these phases. You will not become a master without failing first many times, right? You will probably also lose patience with the process. You will think that you're not on the level to actually go through these walls yet again, right? But I will tell you from my own experience, these walls reappear inside of me very often. Like, you will be surprised, because each opponent, each new sparring partner, each new tournament brings these things yet again, but from the other perspective. And that's why we have to grind them out. We have to poke at it time and time again, because they just reappear, right? But the main thing, we have to just go through them. We have to at least know that they will reappear. So these walls don't disappear ever, but you just get better at passing through them faster. So in short, these 5 walls doesn't mean that you're bad at sword fighting. It even means the other thing. It means that you're actually doing the proper things, because these walls, yes, they don't ever disappear. You're just becoming better at going through them faster. That means that you're actually training sword fighting for real. You're actually putting in the hard work into it. You're becoming a swordsman. You're not just watching someone do it. Because it's easy to watch someone do it or just play a swordsman in a video game. But it's way more rewarding to actually pick up a sword and actually train it for real, right? I'm teaching you this because no one really tells you about this on the internet. No one really knows how to actually sword fight in your community, maybe. So that's why my mission is to create beginner-friendly structure for you to follow, that you can even today pick up a broomstick even and train longsword techniques with just simple gear, simple knowledge that you need, and without any extreme fitness, right? You don't need more things to train. You can train fencing steps today. You can train your footwork. You can train your lunges. You already have everything to do it. You just don't know it yet, right? That's why every beginner needs a blueprint. And that's why, of course, I created my free community called START SWORDFIGHTING, where I teach beginners how to actually train sword fighting, specifically with longsword, because it's my favorite weapon. But in the far future, I will also mention other swords, weapons like saber, maybe rapier with dagger, and so much more. So join the link in the description and just go through the mini course that you can. It's a free mini course that I created for people who just want to start, they're 100% sure that they got to the point when they're ready. Also, this is where you can access my one-to-one contact to me, my feedback and feedback from the other advanced sword fighters inside of this community. So if my videos already changed how you train and how you sword fight, then I really recommend you to check out the link in the description right now. Yeah. And remember, always take the initiative.